I want to start this video by saying this. Everywhere you go, you deserve to be there. But more importantly, you deserve to be there as your most authentic, real, beautiful self. Hey y'all, my name is Christy and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, thank you for checking out this video, and if you are a returning subscriber, thank you for coming back. And here I focus on mental health and mastering your mindset so you can master your money. We testing that out. Let's see how it goes. But one thing I wanted to touch on today is being able to show up as your most authentic self. I feel like a lot of our experiences are being hindered because we spend way too much time trying to finesse our way through life. That's right, finessing our way through life. And I mean that by you know that thing of having to bend and shift and contort in order to make other people feel comfortable, especially as women, and double especially as Black women. You know what I'm talking about. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And honestly, as a girl who can pull a good finesse, I am a finesse queen, baby. I pulls a finesse. So listen to me when I say this. Pulling off a great finesse is not for the weak, because it requires you often to have to suppress a part of you, and sometimes all of you, your whole being sometimes. But even if it's not, it often requires you to suppress a vital piece of who you are. You have to shut off a lot of your authenticity, and you have to do it very heavily, like it's a panini press, baby. You gotta press that thing down. And even if you don't consider yourself, a major finesser, as a woman, you probably have done this to try to fit into a box for a man, to be more palatable, more digestible, more understood, more welcomed into spaces. It's your job. I know y'all done this down to them people job, honey. And you know how hard that is. And in the midst of that, you've probably lost sight of who you really are. And that's if you've ever even been able to find who you really are, because we've been taught this all of our lives. This has been since youth. I remember my mama telling me that I needed to be smarter, faster, stronger, willing to take more on the chin, prettier. I needed to be everything. I needed to do the most. I needed to give everything. I needed to be everything and every woman. But I realized that I'm not every woman. It's not all in me. And I shout out to my PWI, because I learned that being amongst the others, because they wasn't living like this. They wasn't stressed out trying to be who they wasn't, because who they was enough. That's what they had been taught. So I really want to get into helping you find your most authentic self. So let's jump into a few things to consider. We'll start with, do you even know her? Do you know your most authentic self? Do you know that girl? And it's completely okay if you don't know her. But I think it's important to really sit with yourself and say, do I know my most authentic self? Because I can honestly say I didn't. I thought I did. And as I started to do the work and peel back the layers of myself, I found myself tied to identities that I did not relate to any longer. So I want you to sit and think about, who is she to me? Who is that? Who is my most authentic self? I want you to really sit with that and think about, who is my most authentic self? What does she look like? Where does she go? What does she eat? What does she feel like? What does she value? What is important to her? How does she feel right now? How does she want to feel? What does she have to do to get there? Now, if you're struggling to identify your most authentic self, let's take a look at how you can possibly find her. Because she's with you all the time, but you may just not be able to see her. And even though this may be counterintuitive, but we can probably easily find her by exploring how you may have lost her. And most often that can be contributed to family and societal pressures. We are raised in environments where our parents are doing the best they can and with the best they got. And sometimes even when our parents have the best intentions, where they're wanting the best for you, and often they are parenting you in the way that they felt they would like to be parented. But what they really should be doing is parenting you the way you need to be parented. And it's no crime against that. It's all in good intentions most times. But a lot of times what happens with us in those instances is that we end up losing ourselves in our need to cope with the fact that we are not getting what we need. And for me personally, that looked like the road was paved with good intentions for me. I have wonderful parents. I wanted for nothing. They gave me everything, along with my grandparents. I was that child who asked for nothing. I got everything. Anything I did ask for, I got. Every toy, every game, everything you can think of, I would have. The latest clothes, shoes, Jordans, draped down head to toe, gold and jewelry. I was decadent. My life was decadent. I can say that. For a child, it was very decadent. Which is probably why material things mean very little to me now. But I didn't realize that the material things really didn't mean anything to me. And that's why I ended up in a lot of relationships with men who give me a lot materially. And then I end up missing everything else. And I know we're in a world of make him pay, sis. And I don't disagree. Let's not get crazy. I don't disagree. But there is more to life than that. And I say that as a woman who is used to have always being overindulged in that way. So that's my personal experiences. And so I've lost my true essence a lot of times, especially in relationships, because of that. And I don't get what I really need out of relationships and sometimes even friendships because of the coping. I lost the version of myself who I was, who is carefree and fun and who likes to see the world, who's hippie chic and likes a little glam and is all about experiences, not money. And I'm finally finding her again. And so I urge you to utilize that same type of reflection to maybe find who you are again, or for the first time even. Now, if you may have lost your most authentic self, you can always get back to her. Okay? Maybe she got lost in all the masking and coping. And you can get back to her. And again, that kind of just starts with the inner work, the self-work, the hard shit, the ugly shit, the crying, the unpacking, the reading, the therapy, the meditation, the prayer, the spiritual work, that stuff. For me, it's heavy on the creating routines. It's heavy on the reflection. It's heavy on the journaling. Heavy. those are the things that help me to kind of get my peace back, to keep my mind right. Especially routines, surprisingly, because I'm always been a go with the flow girl, be out, live, woo. But I recognize that I'm a routine girl. I love to go with a flow, with a routine thrown in. I like a little planning. So for me, one of my biggest routines that gives me so much mental clarity and peace is changing my linens every Monday. Monday is the day I change my linens. I wash my sheets. I always have a fresh backup set, so I pull everything off, wash everything, put the next set on so I can wash at my leisure. And that has been one of my, oh my God, when I tell y'all that keeps my mind so good. On Mondays too, never Sundays. Sundays on my day of rest. That's another thing I implement. Or doing something that I love or find enjoyable or fun. Spending time with friends and family. Sundays are for that. Sundays are sacred. And Mondays are for everything else. That's the catch-all day. And then I get back to work Tuesday through Friday. Some Saturdays, because I work in real estate, so, But Sundays are sacred for me. So, this also looks like showing up for her. And for me, showing up for her was tough because some of this was taking a break from family. This was really a big one, but even friends sometimes taking space and taking a break from the people you love. And this was very, very hard for me, but so necessary. Especially after like an argument or a blowout or a fight, we need to normalize allowing people to take the space they need after conflict. Let's save all the talk about, oh, you never know what could happen. You don't want to have these bad feelings. I don't have bad feelings about it, okay? I'm at peace. If something happens, then that's the lesson God will want me to learn, and I'll address it at that time. But in this time, I need my space and I need my peace. Let's normalize giving people the time to reflect, to be sad, to feel the hurt, to grieve, to scream, to be upset, so that they can take that time and really come back and build something more fruitful. Let's normalize that. Another thing was taking the time to grieve. Grieving the relationships you lost, the relationships you may have to lose, and most importantly, grieving the version of yourself that you used to be. This one was so big for me. It was so hard. It was so rough. But when I tell you, acknowledging the grief of who I used to be, that was game changing for me. It gave me permission to let that old version of me go so I can move on and into my highest self, my best self, myself that can do anything, be anything, and deal with anything, because she is operating in her full authenticity and in her full strength. It also looked like grieving people I may not have lost, but I feel like I'm slowly losing for various reasons. And I may talk about that another time, but that was also a big one. And in all of that, of course, also standing up for yourself. That's taking that time you need. Like I said, you don't have to rush into fixing anything or doing anything until you're ready. It's your life, it's your health, and it's about you getting back to you. So stand up for yourself, girl. I don't play about her. Remember, you don't play about you. You don't play about your most authentic self, okay? And don't let nobody else play with her either. Period. Now, this may leave you asking, now, how do I show up as her? And this also goes back to the routines. You show up as her by creating your routines and sticking with them. This has been my favorite way of showing up as her, my most authentic and highest self, is creating and sticking to routines. Like I said, my favorite one is every Monday, changing the linens on my bed, doing a spiritual reading, praying, journaling on Mondays, therapy on Mondays when I was going weekly. Now that I go bi-weekly, I still keep it on a Monday. Cleaning up on Monday, meal prepping on Monday. Those routines keep me in step with my highest and my most authentic self. Secondly, setting and honoring your boundaries. This was something I really had to learn and sit with, because it is not the other people's responsibility to honor your boundaries. It's your responsibility to enforce them. That was life-changing for me. Because I would be vocal about the boundaries, and then I would find myself in a cycle getting pissed off every time somebody crossed my boundary. A boundary is a rule that you have to enforce with consequences. So remember to set your boundaries and honor them. Also, set standards for yourself and do not waver in them. Not even for you. You do not waver in your standards, not even for you. If you set the standard, you follow the standard. Because you can't expect for anyone else to treat you to your standard if you don't treat yourself to your standard. Does that make sense? If you won't even show up for you, if you won't go hard for you, if you won't push for you, why do you expect anybody else to? You need to show up for yourself in a way that people can't help but see. Because they need to know that they can't play with you because you don't play about you. You don't play with yourself. So set the standard in how you show up, how you present yourself, how you live your life, what you do for yourself. Set the standard. Because then nobody else will approach you with anything but your standard. Lastly, how do we get others to accept our most authentic and highest self? The answer is simply, you don't. You don't. And I guarantee as you start to enter into this phase and chapter of your life, you're gonna meet resistance, baby. You are going to run into people who are having a hard time adjusting to you leveling up to your most authentic self and walking in that unapologetically. Everybody ain't gonna like it. They not. But really, that's their problem. That's not your problem. It's not your job to help them adjust or be comfortable to your elevated version. That's not your job, nor is it your responsibility. You don't need to fix that. You don't need to address it. You just need to walk into who you're becoming. And the people who love you will accept that. And anybody else who can't accept it, that's okay. Do you, boo? Be unwavering in it when you do. If they can't live with it, they can't eat it, baby. It is what it is. Live, laugh, love, or whatever. Shit, that's not your problem. Don't worry about that. So, that's that. I hope you found this helpful, informational, relational, I don't even think that goes there, but I hope that you could relate or find some use into this. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. Share it with a friend who you think could benefit from this, and be sure to subscribe, because I'll be sharing more videos like this, as well as my journey into the profession of mental health and merging that to help people find their wealth abundance through getting their mindset right. So please come back and see me, and thank you for watching this. Bye.